So the third and last one is called The Animals Reject Their Names and Things Return to Their Origins. It's a more perky kind of thing. So it's sort of a, teddy bear's picnic kind of. Thank you. The animals reject their names and things return to their origins. It was the bear who began it, said, I'm getting out from under. I am not bear, l'ours, ursus, bear, or any other syllables you've pinned on me. Forget the chateau tapestries in which I'm led in embroidered chains, and the scarlet glories of the hunt that was only glorious for you with your clubs and bludgeons. Forget the fairy tales in which I was your shaggy puppet, prince in hair shirt, surrogate for human demons. I'm not your coat, rug, glass-eyed trophy head, plush bedtime toy, and that's not me in outer space with my spangled cub. I'm not your totem. I refuse to dance in your circuses. You cannot carve my soul in stone. I renounce metaphor. I am not child stealer, shape changer, old garbage eater, and you can stuff simile also. Unpeeled, I am not like a man. I take back what you have stolen, and in your languages I announce I am now nameless. My true name is a growl. Come to think of it, I am not a British headdress either. I do not signify bravery. I want to go back to eating salmon without all this military responsibility. I follow suit, said the lion, vacating his coats of arms and movie logos, and the eagle said, get me off this flag. At this, the dictionaries began to untwist and time stalled and reversed. The sweaters wound back into their balls of wool, which rolled bleating out into the meadows. The perfumes returned to France, and old men there fell sweetly dead from a surfeit of aroma. Priests gave their dresses up again to the women, and the women ditched their alligator shoes in a hurry before their former owners turned up to claim them. The violins of the East Coast shores took flight from the fingers of their players, sucking in waltzes, laments, and reels, landed in Scotland, fell apart with wailing into their own wooden sinew, and vanished into the trees and into the guts and howls of long-dead cats and the tails of knackered horses. Songs crammed themselves back down the throats of their singers, and a billion computers blew apart and honed in chip by chip on the brains of the inventors. Squashed mice were shot backwards out of traps, brides and grooms uncoupled like shunting trains. Tins of sardines exploded, releasing their wiggling shoals. Dinosaur bones whizzed like missiles out of museums back to the Badlands, and bullets flew sizzling into their guns. Glass beads popped off gowns and moccasins and fell on Italy in a hail of dangerous color as white people disappeared over the Atlantic in a whoosh of pollution, vainly clutching their power tools, car keys, and lawnmowers, which dove like metal fish back into the mines. Black people, too, recapturing syncopation. All flowers were suctioned budwise into their stems. The native peoples made speedy clearance work of cowboys and longhorns, but then took off westward instead, chanting goodbye to ancestral plains, which were reclaimed by shaggy mastodons and the precursors of horses, and everywhere the children shrank and began to drop teeth and grow hair. Well, there were suddenly a lot more flamingos before they in their turn became eggs, while people's bodies reverted through their own flesh genealogies like stepping stones Man, woman, man, containers into contained, shedding language and gathering themselves in, skein after skein of protoplasm, until there was only one of them, alone at the first naming. But the streetwise animals, forewarned, and having learned the diverse meanings of the word dominion, did not show up. And Adam, inarticulate, deprived of his arsenal of proper nouns, returned to mud. And mud itself became lava, and lava the uncooled earth, and the uncooled earth a swirl of white-hot energy, and the energy jammed itself into its own potential and swirled like fluorescent bathwater down a non-existent wormhole. I could end this with a moral as if this were a fable about animals, though no fables are really about animals. I could say, don't offend the bear, don't tell bad jokes about him, have compassion on his bare heart. I could say, think twice before you speak. I could say, don't take the name of anything in vain. But it's far too late for that, because you can't read this, because you can't remember the word for read, because you are dizzy with aphasia, because the page darkens and ripples, because it is liquid and unbroken, because God has bitten his own tongue, and the first bright word of creation hovers in the formless void, unspoken. That was a thrill.